Every scroll is making you more anxious, more depressed, and more addicted. Here's the psychology. Right now, as you watch this, your brain is being rewired. Not by some sci-fi experiment or medication, but by the app sitting in your pocket. That innocent scroll through Instagram, that quick check of TikTok, that mindless refresh of Twitter, each one is physically changing the structure of your brain, shrinking your attention span, amplifying your anxiety. And the worst part? It's all by design. Social media companies didn't stumble onto these techniques by accident. They hired neuroscientists, psychologists, and former casino designers to create platforms that exploit the same psychological vulnerabilities that keep people glued to slot machines. And just like gambling, the house always wins. But here's what they don't want you to know. You're not weak for being addicted. You're up against billion-dollar algorithms specifically engineered to hijack your brain's reward system. Let me show you exactly how they're doing it. The dopamine trap. Your brain on social media. Think about the last time you posted something online. Did you obsessively check for likes? Refresh the page multiple times? Feel a little rush when that notification counter went up? That rush isn't random. It's dopamine, your brain's pleasure chemical. The same neurotransmitter released when you eat chocolate, win money, or use cocaine. Social media platforms have weaponized this chemical to keep you coming back. But here's where it gets sinister. They don't give you dopamine consistently. That would make you bored. Instead, they use something called variable reward schedules, the exact same mechanism that makes slot machines so addictive. Sometimes you get likes immediately, sometimes you wait, sometimes you get flooded with engagement, sometimes crickets. This unpredictability amplifies dopamine release tenfold. Your brain never knows when the next reward is coming, so it keeps you checking, scrolling, refreshing, desperately pulling that digital lever hoping for a jackpot. Studies show this pattern creates the same brain changes seen in gambling addicts: increased impulsivity, reduced self-control, and actual shrinkage of brain regions responsible for decision-making. And this is just the foundation. Now let me show you the 8 specific ways they exploit this system. Manipulation number 1. Infinite scroll, the trap with no exit. Remember when websites had pages? When you'd reach the bottom and have a natural stopping point? That all changed in 2006 when infinite scroll was introduced, and the man who created it, Asa Raskin, now calls it one of his biggest regrets. Infinite scroll removes what psychologists call stopping cues, natural breaks that signal it's time to pause. Without these cues, your brain never registers that it's time to stop. There's always one more post, one more video, one more update. Think about it. When was the last time you intentionally decided to stop scrolling? Most of us don't. We scroll until something external interrupts us, a phone call, a dead battery, or the crushing realization that an hour has vanished into the void. This design intentionally creates what's called a flow state, but not the productive kind. It's a hypnotic state where time dissolves, awareness fades, and you become a passive consumer feeding an algorithm. Casinos use the same technique, removing clocks and windows to trap gamblers in an eternal present. Social media does it digitally, but wait, it gets worse. Manipulation number 2. Social comparison, the envy engine. Open Instagram right now. What do you see? Perfect bodies, exotic vacations, career wins, romantic relationships that look like movie scenes, your friend's authentic morning routine filmed with professional lighting. Social media has created the most toxic comparison culture in human history. Research shows that upward social comparisons, comparing yourself to people who seem better off, are happening constantly on these platforms. And it's destroying mental health at unprecedented rates. Here's why it's so damaging. People curate their online personas to show only highlights. But your brain doesn't process that as edited content. It processes it as reality. When you see someone's vacation photos, your brain doesn't think they're only showing the good parts. It thinks, everyone is having amazing experiences except me. Studies reveal that social comparison on social media is directly linked to feelings of inadequacy, envy, low self-esteem, and depression. One research found that every additional hour spent on social media increased depression by 9% and anxiety by 12% among young adults. The platforms know this, and they amplify it, because envy keeps you engaged. It makes you post more, trying to match what others have. It makes you scroll more, caught in a comparison trap you can't escape. Manipulation number 3. FOMO, the fear that never sleeps. Fear of missing out isn't just a trendy acronym. It's a legitimate psychological phenomenon weaponized by social media platforms, and it's devastating young people's mental health. FOMO is the persistent anxiety that others are having rewarding experiences from which you are absent. Social media supercharges this by giving you a 24/7 window into everyone else's life. Someone's always at a better party, always achieving more, always living a more interesting life. The cruelest part, FOMO creates a vicious cycle. You feel left out, so you check social media to feel connected. But checking social media exposes you to more evidence of what you're missing, amplifying the anxiety. So you check more, and the cycle intensifies. Research shows FOMO is strongly correlated with problematic social media use, depression, and anxiety. Nearly 83% of people report experiencing information overload from trying to keep up with everything happening online. Millennials and Gen Z are the hardest hit, with almost 40% reporting that social media has significantly increased their fear of missing out. The platforms profit from your anxiety. The more FOMO you feel, the more you engage. The more you engage, the more ads they can serve you. But we're just getting started. The next manipulation is even more insidious. Manipulation number 4. Validation seeking. The like addiction. How many times have you posted something and immediately started counting likes? How did you feel when a post flopped? When it succeeded? Social media has gamified human validation. Every like, comment, and share triggers a small dopamine hit, the same neurotransmitter involved in addiction. Platforms have essentially turned social approval into a drug you can't stop chasing. Research shows this validation-seeking behavior is reshaping self-esteem. Instead of internal confidence, people now depend on external metrics, quantifiable measures of popularity and acceptance. Studies with adolescents found that getting fewer likes than others on social media elicits feelings of rejection comparable to actual ostracism. It's modern-day social pain, delivered through a screen. The danger? You start crafting your life around what gets engagement rather than what brings genuine fulfillment. You become a performer in your own life, constantly seeking applause from an audience that's mostly scrolling mindlessly anyway. And here's the kicker. The validation is intermittent and unpredictable. Sometimes posts explode, sometimes they die. This unpredictability, remember that variable reward schedule, makes the validation even more addictive. You keep posting, keep checking, keep hoping for that next hit of social approval. Manipulation number 5. Notification intermittent reinforcement. Pavlov's digital bell. That buzz in your pocket. That red notification badge. That banner at the top of your screen. Each one is a carefully engineered trigger designed to make you respond. Notifications use intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes they're important, sometimes they're trivial, sometimes you get flooded with engagement, sometimes nothing. This unpredictability keeps you in a constant state of anticipation and anxiety. Psychologists call this a variable interval reinforcement schedule. It's the same principle that made B.F. Skinner's pigeons peck levers until they collapsed from exhaustion. You never know when the next reward is coming, so you keep checking, refreshing, responding. Studies show that people who allow push notifications check their phones significantly more often and report higher stress levels. The constant interruptions fragment attention, destroy focus, and keep your brain in a perpetual state of arousal. You're never fully present because part of your mind is always waiting for the next notification. Some companies even admitted to designing features specifically to exploit this. Snapchat's streaks create artificial urgency. Miss a day and you lose everything. The result? Teens report feeling controlled by the app, checking it obsessively to maintain their streaks even when they don't want to. And if you think that's manipulative, wait until you hear about echo chambers. Manipulation number 6. Echo chambers. Confirmation bias on steroids. Social media algorithms don't show you reality. They show you a reality specifically curated to match your existing beliefs, and this creates echo chambers that amplify confirmation bias and polarize society. Here's how it works. Platforms track every like, comment, share, and click. They learn your worldview. Then they feed you more content that confirms what you already believe, because confirmation feels good and keeps you engaged. The result? You're surrounded by people who think exactly like you. Opposing viewpoints are filtered out. Dissenting opinions become invisible. You start believing that everyone agrees with you, when in reality, you're just in a carefully constructed bubble. Research shows that echo chambers intensify confirmation bias, increase political polarization, and make it nearly impossible to engage in constructive dialogue with people who think differently. You're not seeing diverse perspectives, you're seeing your own beliefs reflected back at you 1,000 times, making them seem more true, more obvious, more righteous. This doesn't just affect politics, it shapes your views on health, relationships, parenting, finance, everything. And because you're only seeing one side, you become more extreme in those views, more certain, more unwilling to consider alternatives. The platforms profit from this division. Outrage drives engagement. Controversy generates clicks. Echo chambers keep you angry, afraid, and coming back for more. Manipulation number 7. Parasocial relationships. False intimacy with strangers. You feel like you know them. You follow their daily life. You celebrate their wins. Feel concerned during their struggles. You might even consider them a friend. But they have no idea you exist. Welcome to parasocial relationships, one-sided emotional connections with media figures, celebrities, and influencers. Social media has supercharged this phenomenon to unprecedented levels. Unlike traditional celebrities who felt distant, social media influencers share intimate details, respond to comments, and create an illusion of reciprocal friendship. They share their morning routines, their vulnerabilities, their authentic struggles, except it's curated authenticity designed to deepen your parasocial attachment. Research shows these relationships can be positive for some people, providing comfort, motivation, and a sense of connection. But they can also become psychologically damaging. People develop emotional dependencies on influencers, prioritizing these fake friendships over real relationships. Some experience genuine grief when influencers stop posting or when scandals destroy the parasocial illusion. Studies found that people with higher loneliness, social anxiety, and low self-esteem are more likely to form intense parasocial relationships. The platforms exploit this vulnerability, using parasocial bonds to keep you engaged, watching, following, and buying whatever these influencers promote. You're not building real connections, you're being sold an illusion of intimacy while the algorithm monetizes your attention. Manipulation number 8. The attention economy. You are the product. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Social media platforms aren't selling you a service. They're selling you to advertisers. In the attention economy, your time, focus, and cognitive resources are commodities. Platforms compete to capture as much of your attention as possible, then sell that attention to the highest bidder. Every minute you scroll is profit for them. Every click, every view, every moment of engagement is being monetized. To maximize profit, platforms use sophisticated algorithms that prioritize emotionally charged, polarizing, and sensational content. Research shows that posts containing outrage, fear, or anger are 67% more likely to be shared. False news spreads 6 times faster than truthful news because it triggers stronger emotional reactions. The platforms aren't neutral. They're engineered to amplify content that provokes the strongest responses, usually negative ones. This keeps you engaged longer, feeds you more ads, and generates more revenue. Studies reveal that this business model creates direct incentives to manipulate user behavior, amplify misinformation, and prioritize engagement over well-being. The attention economy doesn't care about your mental health. It cares about keeping your eyes on the screen. You're not using social media, you're being used by it. The mental health crisis. The consequences of these 8 manipulations are catastrophic. Research consistently links heavy social media use to increased rates of anxiety, depression, loneliness, and suicidal ideation, especially among adolescents and young adults. Studies show that individuals with high social media addiction scores have reduced gray matter volume in the amygdala and prefrontal cortex, brain regions critical for emotional regulation and impulse control. The same structural changes seen in substance addiction and gambling disorders. Young people who spend more than 2 hours daily on social media show significantly higher risk of depression and anxiety. Social media addiction is negatively correlated with self-esteem and positively correlated with feelings of inadequacy, social isolation, and decreased life satisfaction. The platforms know this, and they continue designing for maximum engagement anyway. How to reclaim control. The good news? Your brain's neuroplasticity, the same mechanism that allows these platforms to hijack you, also allows you to heal. Here's how to start. Set boundaries. Use app timers. Schedule social media-free hours, especially before bed. Turn off non-essential notifications. Create friction. Remove apps from your phone. Log out after each use. Use browser blockers to make mindless scrolling harder. Practice digital detox. Start with small breaks, 2 hours, then a day, then a weekend. Replace screen time with offline activities, reading, exercise, real conversations. Cure it intentionally. Unfollow accounts that trigger comparison or anxiety. Follow accounts that add genuine value. Understand the manipulation. The more aware you become of these tactics, the harder it is for them to control you. Build real connections. Prioritize face-to-face relationships over digital ones. Invest in people who know you, not influencers who don't. The battle for your attention is real. Billion-dollar corporations are leveraging neuroscience to keep you scrolling. But now you know their playbook. You understand the 8 ways they're rewiring your brain. You see the manipulation for what it is. The question is, what are you going to do about it?